Today, we're going to talk about something that's at the heart of making pretty much any piece of software. But we're not going to treat it like some dry technical lecture. Instead, we're going to explore it as a way of thinking, a way to take a really big, complicated idea and make it clear, not just for other people, but most importantly, for yourself. I mean, really think about it. You get that spark, right? This amazing concept just clicks in your head. It's so vivid, it makes total sense to you. But then you try to explain it to someone, maybe a friend or a coworker, and it just kind of falls apart. Something always gets lost in translation. It's a feeling we've all had. And that right there is the heart of what we're talking about today. That frustration when words get all tangled up, and that really satisfying feeling of clarity you get from just a simple picture. This is the exact reason why something called UML even exists. Okay, so let's dive in with a really simple analogy. Imagine you wanted to build a house. You wouldn't just show up with a pile of wood and start hammering, right? Of course not. You'd start with a plan, a blueprint. That way, everyone, the builders, the electricians, the plumbers, they all know exactly what they're supposed to be doing and how all the pieces fit together.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about UML. It's not the code itself. It's the blueprint. It's that shared drawing, that common language that lets everyone on the team see the exact same vision before even one line of code gets written.
So, what is it officially? Well, UML stands for Unified Modeling Language, and it's exactly what it sounds like, a standard visual language. It's basically a toolbox full of different kinds of diagrams that help us map out a software system. It's all about creating a model that we can actually look at, talk about, and improve together. Let's break this down into two super simple parts, okay? The first part is all about the structure. This is like figuring out all the main things in your system before they actually start doing anything. We call this the static view, and it's just like an architect's floor plan. It doesn't show people walking around inside the house yet. It just shows the fundamental layout. You know, what are the rooms? Where are the doors? This is always the first step to getting clarity, just identifying all the pieces of the puzzle before you even try to put them together. And here's where that house analogy gets really, really powerful. In our software blueprint, the rooms are what we call classes. They're the main ideas or objects. The walls and doors that connect those rooms, we call those relationships. And all the little details inside, like the sinks or light fixtures, those are the attributes. See? It's almost a perfect one-to-one mapping. This is the kind of stuff we draw out in a UML class diagram. So to make this real, just picture a simple music app. What are the main rooms? Well, they'd be the things you can easily name: a user, a song, and a playlist. A user can have a playlist can contain songs, and just like that, we've already described the basic structure. And suddenly, what was just a messy jumble of ideas in your head starts to have some shape. Remember that feeling of tangled words we started with? This is how you untangle them. There's this really calming feeling that comes from just naming the pieces and seeing how they connect. It's that first step from chaos to clarity. So we have our floor plan, we know the structure. What's next? Well, now we need to understand how someone actually lives in the house. And that brings us to the second big part of UML, telling the story. This is what we call the behavioral view. If the structure was the floor plan, the behavior is the story of someone walking through the rooms, flipping on lights, and making dinner. It's all about describing how those different pieces of your system actually interact with each other to get something done. Let's go back to our music app. A really simple story or a use case might go something like this. 1. A user searches for a song. 2. The system finds some matches. 3. The user picks one and adds it to their playlist. And 4. The system confirms, yep, it's added. This simple step-by-step story is exactly what something like a UML sequence diagram is designed to show. And that's really the magic of it. Each one of those steps is just a little interaction between the rooms we already defined, the user, the song, the playlist. When we map out these flows, we're not just making a list of features. We're actually telling the story of how our idea comes to life. Okay, so we've talked about structure, and we've talked about the story. Now, it's so easy to get lost in all the different diagram types and the specific rules, but let's just take a step back for a second and focus on what's truly important. It's not the diagrams themselves, it's the mindset of the person drawing them. This is probably the most crucial takeaway. The real point of UML is not to create these perfectly detailed, technically flawless diagrams. Its real power is as a tool for thinking clearly and as a tool for communication. It helps you untangle your own thoughts, and then it helps you share that clarity with your whole team. So, how do you actually use this in real life? First, just forget about perfection, seriously. Start with a messy sketch on a whiteboard. The goal isn't to become a UML expert overnight. The goal is to use these simple shapes and lines to ask better questions, to find the holes in your own logic, and to build a real shared understanding with the people you're working with. The goal always is clarity. And I just want to leave you with this final thought. A model, whether you draw it on a napkin or create it in some fancy software, is really about one thing: taking an idea that's way too big and complicated to hold in your head all at once and making it intellectually graspable. It's how we make our ideas real enough to touch so that we can then turn them into reality together. Thanks for exploring this with me.